If he's playing music from here, that means it is another night for the Witchlight Carnival. Come back and join us for another foray into the wild beyond the Witchlight. Quick recap. They had a strange invitation to the Witchlight Carnival that brought them together. Some of them had already joined hands, others brand new friends. There was a pie eating contest, a snail race, and a big top festival. At the end of it all, or at the end of the extravaganza, they had a short meeting with the owners of the Witchlight Carnival, Mr. Witch and Mr. Light. And there was another individual, a bugbear, asking them for help. Something is amiss in the Witchlight Carnival, and they've asked the party to figure out what's going on. Gain some leverage, if you will. And with that, we begin tonight's episode of while beyond the Witchlight. Well, party, when last we left off, you guys had been asked by Burley to gain some leverage, and he had mentioned that there were a few names that might be able to be trusted, and one in particular to stay away from. Do you remember the names of the individuals that you were told that you could trust?
I believe
Palasha,
Candlefoot,
Dulagran,
Duragran,
and Candlefoot.
yeah, Prussia.
There you go.
And we should
That is
stay
absolutely
away
correct.
from Thaco.
Yeah, is it Daco
Yes.
or Thaco?
Or Thaco.
Or Thaco?
It's to hit armor class 0, whatever it is.
Yo.
Yo. So, for those of you who aren't familiar, there are 2 Easter eggs here. One, the bugbear with the pumpkin on his head is a nod to the very first description of a bugbear, and Thaco, of course, is a nod to 2nd edition, or Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, where you had a 2-hit armor class 0. The original description of bugbears, they just said they had a pumpkin-sized head, and the artist literally drew them with a pumpkin on their head. So that is the joke behind that.
And
all right,
it seems
so
we're
you're
starting
right.
the evening with a party boon.
A party boon! To whom do we thank for the party boon?
Ah, the lovely Trizelta.
Well, thank you so much, Trizelta. I will figure out what boon we shall grant them in a moment. In the meantime, you have the rest of the carnival to discover. You do have 3 names. And party, the carnival is yours to explore. Where would you like to go?
Oh man. I quite like the sound of that Hall of Illusions if we're wanting to just spend the time with the tickets we have. Or we can start gathering, I don't know, clues on where those other 3 are. What say it, gang?
Do any of those names sound familiar to you, Willerin?
Yeah, I imagine you understand right where to find them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, of course. Who would be closer to us, I guess?
If you guys are coming out of the staff area, you know that
Behind the
Darlagran,
big
yep, Darlagran can be found generally in the lost property section.
Okay.
They're usually lounging there. Candlefoot has been known to wander about, but one of his more known locations would be the Hall of Illusions.
Okay.
Palasha, being the mermaid that she
Yes.
is, probably is more often found in the Silver Song Lake or near the Gondola Swans, places
Okay.
like that.
Well, looking at the distance between where they usually are, they're all kind of even. But Fanny, you said Hall of Illusions? Sometimes Candlefoot is there. We can check there.
I mean, It's up to the others. It's just I'm fine with anything.
I'm fine with the Hall of Illusions as well.
I think
Illusion
that
sounds most entertaining to me.
Yeah, let's just do one little quick stuff and then we can go to our definite places where we can find them and interrogate.
This has gone from a where is she? All right. So to the Hall of Illusion, then it sounds like.
To the Hall of Illusions.
Okay.
away we go.
As you approach the Hall of Illusions, you can see that there is a glass cabinet near the entrance to the tent. A wood mannequin of a grinning, raven-haired young woman in witch's attire and a green flowing cape hovers inside a glass cabinet. At the top of the cabinet, a sign reads, Tasha, the wizard known for her hideous laughter. In front of it is a halfling couple. They hold hands as they approach the glass cabinet. One of the halflings is wearing butterfly face paint. As he drops to one knee, he produces a small box from his pocket. His sweetheart looks at him and bursts into laughter and begins rolling on the ground. The halfling in face paint begins sobbing and runs into the nearby tent without getting his ticket punched. And she is rolling on the ground laughing as you watch the other halfling dart, clearly in tears.
Oh, goodness.
I don't get the joke.
I think maybe the proposal was the joke. Poor lad.
Oh,
Maybe we should go follow after the gentleman and make sure he's okay.
Yeah,
all right.
that's very rough. I'm gonna say a thing or two to that young lady. That's just rude.
All right, so you're going to go over and talk to the halfling that's rolling on the ground laughing?
Mhm.
I'll go with her.
All right. As you approach the glass cabinet, I want to verify who is going to the glass cabinet. Is it just Fanny and Willerin?
I'll go.
Okay, so Willerin, Styx, and Fanny. As the three of you approach the glass cabinet, I need you all to give me wisdom saving throws.
Oh, no.
I knew this wasn't the best place to do something like that. Figured.
Save.
I figured. Oh no.
Is this magic?
16.
A 16, you're fine. Fanny, you are also fine.
A 9.
9.
9.
You remember a moment too late as you approach that this cabinet has a small enchantment on it. And you start to laugh hysterically, falling down and rolling around on the ground in just belly laughs that fill the air around. If it weren't for the fact that it was brought on by some magical effect, it would be kind of endearing as you're just laughing and guffawing along with the halfling, who suddenly composes herself. Oh, where did Reuben go? Was anybody following the young man into the tent?
Yeah.
So, Jay, Sir Hickory Turnip, what about you, Noodle?
I'm curious. Why not?
All right. As the three of you approach the tent, it's further down, so it's away from the cabinet. You're not affected by it. But you see this large tent is painted with a mural of shifting images that show grinning fairies diving into pools of color. The helical stripes of the tent's pointed canopies rotate in spirals, and the whole display seems designed to befuddle onlookers. A clown dressed in muted garb stands at the tent's entrance, blinking at you. He stands there for a moment and then kind of like makes a motion with his hands, his thumb pressing down on his curled index finger, and then makes like a small rectangle with the 2 pointer fingers and 2 thumbs together.
I repeat the motion back at him.
All right. He just shakes his head. He points at you and holds up a rectangle, like his fingers in a rectangle motion. And then once again curls his hands like his fingers into a fist and presses his thumb down on the curled index finger.
I reach out my hand. Hi, I'm Jay.
He reaches out his hand and shakes your hand, and you watch as he moves his hand quickly, and an image of a candle with a foot on the bottom of it appears.
Oh.
Ah, you must be Candlefoot.
He nods vigorously up and down.
Did you happen to see a halfling run this way?
He nods vigorously, his head up and down. And he points into the tent. As you start to move towards it, though, he holds up his hand. And he once again makes the little illusion of a ticket. It's shimmery and translucent, but you can see that it is a ticket.
Oh.
He then turns the image of the ticket and curls his index fingers and puts his thumb down, or curls his fingers and puts his thumb against the knuckle, and you watch as an imaginary little hole is punched out from where he tapped it.
I remember this part. We have to give them our tickets.
He
And I
nods his
produce
head
mine
vigorously
and hand it
up and down. All right, so he takes your ticket and punches it and hands it back to you and holds his hand out to the others. And he punches all of your tickets. While you guys are running inside, I need Willerin to give me another saving throw, please.
Okay. 11.
You are still guffawing, laughing yourself. You're even doing that point, you know, when you were tickled as a kid and you get to that point where you're like, I got to pee.
Yeah.
You're just laughing.
Yeah.
You two, Fanny and Styx, you see the young halfling is gaining her composure, but she looks flummoxed and she asks again, "Where's my sweet Reuben gone?"
Is Reuben the one that ran away? That wasn't very. Willerin, get it together. Willerin, we're trying to. What is funny?
I'm just staring at Willerin on the ground.
Willerin, come on.
Willerin is just, see, that's what happened to me. I just got so close, and the next thing you know, I was laughing. I didn't mean to laugh at him. He was going to ask me to marry him, and I would have said yes gladly. Oh, please tell me he'll come back. Oh, when she starts twisting her fingers, you know, that worried look. Willerin, go ahead and give me another saving throw, please.
This is gonna be the night. 16.
Okay, you finally take and catch your breath. It's one of those ragged ones that you draw in.
Yeah.
As you compose yourself. You look at the cabinet and remember that it has an enchantment on it that if you get within a certain range, Tasha's hideous laughter affects you.
Sorry. Oh, it's the cabinet. It's the cabinet. Sorry.
All right. The other three, Jay, Sir Hickory Turnip, and Noodle, you guys run in after Reuben. As you get inside, you see Candlefoot like lean his head to look in after you as you move inside. It is a crazy light bouncing off of one another hall of mirrors. Mirrors as far as you can go, tall mirrors line the interior walls of the tent. the mirrors near the entrance reflect you in your youth. And then the images grow steadily older until the mirrors deep within the hall show people in their twilight years as you start to scrutinize. What would Noodle look like as a tiny child? Cub, pup, otter pups. What would Noodle look like as a pup?
Oh boy. Very different than the one in front of you now. I'd be on all fours, seeming like a regular otter. Much smaller, though.
And then to the opposite side of things, as you start to move along, Sir Hickory Turnip. What would the venerable Sir Hickory Turnip look like in the mirror?
I would imagine that the venerable Hickory Turnip would look. He'd probably have a good length beard for a halfling, and like actually has like old beaten armor, kind of Don Quixote looking figure. Probably with a full like adult human sized stein, and happily like taking chugs from it with a kind of a mad look in his eye.
I love the idea of a halfling with a beard. Everybody keeps mistaking him as a very short dwarf. And as you guys move along, taking a minute to scour in there, let's see, what would the Jay as a child look like?
Jay as a child would look kind of like a street urchin, pretty dirty, ragged clothing. Definitely barefoot.
Okay. Just running around like barefoot, dirty bottoms of the feet, one shirt tail untucked.
Yeah, a troublemaker for sure.
All right. As you guys are chasing after Ruben, I'd like for all of you to give me perception checks. And thanks to that boon, everybody, for your next ability check, skill check, I'll give you all advantage. So the three of you, go ahead and give me your skill checks with advantage, please.
I'm going to send you a quick message.
You got it.
And sorry, you asked for a perception check there?
Yes, please.
Wow.
Nice.
All right. Nice.
Goodness gracious.
Well done.
16.
16. All right. All three of you, although you're distracted by your own images in the mirror for a moment, as you come around the corner, you see Ruben. The halfling is gazing worriedly into a mirror, and you make out a little girl in a pig mask. Like the lower half of her jaw can be seen, but you can see she's wearing like a pig mask over her face. She's whispering to the halfling's youthful reflection. You only see her in the mirror as though she's a reflection speaking into the ear of the reflection of the halfling.
Excuse me. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse
Ruben.
me. Are you all right?
Oh, he turns to look at you all, and as he does, you see the little girl with the mask looks up and like opens her mouth at you, but runs away into the distance as though there were a world beyond the mirror. And she just disappears. He turns to look back and goes, "Oh, that little girl asked me if I had any regrets, and said that if I did, she knew someone who could help me. I felt like I just had to follow her. And then you came along and she went running away. I feel rather odd, to be perfectly honest with you. I was going to ask Wayne if she'd like to marry me, but then she fell down laughing, and I couldn't take it, so I came running in here. I told the little pig girl that I did have one regret, but again, like I said, you came along before I could tell her what it was. So, anyways, have you seen Wayne? I feel like I should get back to have a conversation with her. And he just kind of blinks at the three of you.
She's still out front. Can we ask what your regret is? You didn't get a chance to tell the lady in the mirror.
Oh, well, and he sort of like toes the ground in front of him. I was really nervous about asking Wayne to marry me. And then she laughed at me, and I instantly knew that my regrets were true, that I shouldn't have done it. I
Oh,
feel foolish.
you tried. You tried your best. That's all you could do.
Aye, that's true. And he takes like the little box out of his pocket, and he kind of he's like thumbing it and like moving it around in his hand, and he's like, well, so much so's for that. Any of you looking to buy a wedding ring? Or an engagement ring, rather.
Oof, I'm taken. Sorry.
Oh, no, I wasn't going to ask you to marry me. I feel, and he shivers. I really should get out of here. Do you know the way out?
I think it might be off over that way, and he'll and Hickory will make his best guess.
Oh, she's kind of like, this direction. Hickory, give me. Let's see how this goes. Hickory, give me a give me a perception check, actually.
You got it.
All right. And you guys start to make your way out successfully from there. On the outside, now that the three party members out there have collected themselves and are no longer rolling about on the dirt, you tell Ween, I assume that you tell Ween that Ruben ran into the Hall of Illusions.
That's correct.
All right. As you guys wander over to where Candlefoot is, about the time that you guys collect yourselves to move over, Ween is telling you how she would have happily married Ruben. She doesn't know what came over her other than that, the laughter from that cabinet. Willorin, this you remember that those who get too close and get affected by that spell. As a matter of fact, Tasha, let's see, Willorin, Sticks, Noodle. I want you three to, actually no, just Willorin and Sticks, because Noodle wouldn't have seen the cabinet. Willorin and Sticks, would you please give me a history check, please?
History. All right. Uh, 18.
13.
Okay. Willorin, I am sending you some information.
Okay.
I'm too sure to see what's in the box. But whatever it is made her tickle on over.
I'm going to expand on that little bit of information that I'm sending you right now.
Okay.
This is the Roll20 equivalent to watching somebody get up and give a whisper.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh.
All right. At about that time, though, you watch as your fellow party members walk out with Reuben, who is um, wiping his eyes on his sleeves. He sees Ween and he says, "You laughed at me." To which she says, "It wasn't my choice. It's something come over me. Would you
If I
please ask me again?" What were we going to say, Sticks?
Sorry. No, it was me. Sorry. I was going
Okay.
to just kind of pipe in a little bit and like mention it, or not. Maybe if she says ask him again before I get the chance, I would just behind her like nod my head and thumbs up.
All right. You watch as he goes, "All right, here we go." He gets down on one knee with the three of you one behind him and three of you behind Ween. "Ween, my darling, we've been together for some time, picking apples and making hay, spending our days together. We might be young, but I couldn't imagine anybody else I'd rather spend my life with. If you'd do me the honor of making me an honorable halfling by accepting my proposal, would you marry me, darling?" And he holds the ring open. And of course, she gushes immediately and shakes her head up and down, her eyes welling with tears. And you don't know when, but there's like a collective, everybody exhaling all at once. And you didn't recognize it, but around you guys and around this little halfling interlude, there are a gathering of people. You see uh, little like kids with makeup on, you see couples holding hands, and as soon as they do it, you see like one of the elf stilt walkers who normally has treats is like stopped, and everybody's just like stopped, and as soon as she says, "Of course I will," everybody just erupts into cheers, and the elf stilt walker starts throwing treats at everybody, and there's all of a sudden streamers start throwing up overhead. You can see Candlefoot is making fireworks appear using prestidigitation, and it's just everybody's celebrating, and the two of them grip hands. And I can't raise the carnival's mood anymore because you guys have done such a marvelous job. But the mood of the carnival is even more ecstatic than it was before, as everybody is happy for this couple. And they grip your hands and they thank you all for helping reunite them. And they bound upon their way.
Wow, I think we did a
You,
good thing.
Jay, give me a perception check, please.
Okie dokie.
I like it when he says it that way.
Oops, I rolled it twice. My bad.
That's okay. I only see the one that came through, so you're good.
Cool.
All right. Looking around at everybody, you see Candlefoot. Candlefoot seems a little forlorn. Like he's got this like bittersweet look on his face. Willerin,
Hmm.
please give me a perception check as well.
Okay. 16.
Okay. You also notice this.
I'm gonna sneak my way on over towards him. He's a little fairy, right?
No, he's just has on. He's
Oh, I thought
um
the way the picture was, he looked, I don't know, smaller for some reason.
he
Okay.
he's because he has the wings on, but
Yeah.
he's a human.
Okay. Perfect. Um, Candlefoot,
He just raises his eyes at you.
what's wrong?
He taps his throat and shakes his head back and forth. And then he like puts both of his hands over his heart and he kind of nods his head off in the direction of the Silver Song Lake.
Candlefoot, could he normally talk?
You've known him to talk.
Okay. I didn't want to make the assumption in case he couldn't. Um, your
Mhm.
your voice is gone.
He nods his head slowly up and down. He takes the hood like mantelpiece and pulls it up over his head so that it's like covering most of his face. And then he takes his hand and he makes it like a beak, like poking out of the hood.
Okay.
And then he pulls his hands down and makes a flapping motion, like wings.
Bird?
He snaps his fingers and points at you, like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're on the right path.
Perfect. Okay. Did a bird take it?
He nods his head up and down slowly, but you can see him like squinting his eyes, like something like that. You know, he's kind of like,
I'm close, but it's in. Is it at Silver Song Lake?
he shakes his head back and forth. You know, because you are a hand here within the
Yes.
candle, within the Witchlight, you know about he and Palasha, the mermaid,
Yes.
their special connection.
Okay. Right. Okay.
He points to you,
Mhm.
and he puts one hand on his hip curled around.
Mhm.
His other hand he raises up over his head a little bit, like bending at the elbow,
Okay.
and he tips himself forward towards the hand that's raised and bent at the elbow.
Okay. I don't know if I'm the best for charades, but
Look over in it.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah, that's good. I'll take it. Oh,
Oh.
the teapots. Thank you.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
I was like, oh.
I'm gonna do my best to describe this, but I need something else here.
Okay, we're good.
This is the best game of Pictionary.
You say teapot.
Yes.
He looks at you and says, he like puts his fingers a little closer together, like saying you're close. He puts
Closer.
his index and thumb together, like close. You know, like that motion of saying something short or that you're close.
Okay. Is it something that looks like a teapot?
He taps an ear.
The swan. The gondola swans.
No, he taps his ear like it's sound. Like,
Sounds like teapot.
but he watches, he like takes his hands and flips them back and forth, like over back and forth, like close. It's hard to understand. He looks at you and he claps his hands and makes a motion. He holds his palm up and then takes his finger and draws like on his palm and then like shrugs at you.
Somebody get this man some paper.
He points at you. Like, yes, that's it.
I don't know what I have.
I'm just gonna kind of pad my way over and watch this exchange.
It's just like
You're more interested in this.
Yeah.
My hands are like on my hip as I'm like just trying to understand.
I would just like to imagine Fanny in the bedroom.
The whole marriage thing was interesting, but this is intriguing.
Is this charades?
Does anybody have paper or pencil or writing implement?
I bet I do in my bag.
Somewhere.
Oh yeah. Do you want to give me a roll on that?
Yeah.
All right, give me a roll.
What do you want me to roll?
Percentile dice.
Percentile.
Yep, it's a mundane item, so it's going to be a pretty easy roll.
That is a 68.
You have parchment, but no matter how much you've dug in your bag, you cannot find something to write with. You have parchment, but no implement for writing.
Have a
Can I check
disguise.
my bag?
I was about to say,
Oh.
if nobody has a pen or pencil, I have makeup.
Jay,
there's-
do you
oh.
want to check your bag?
Yeah, I would.
Okay. Give me a percentage. Or did I go percentage with you or D20?
Percentage. I think you went for.
Yeah.
How do
Percentage
I roll the
roll.
percentage?
/R space 1D100 or D100.
On D&D Beyond, in the bottom left corner, there's a little dice icon. If you
Yes.
click on it,
Okay.
there's one that has 2 die on it. It says a D100. If you click on that,
There you
it'll
go.
roll it for you.
Okay. There. I think I did do that right.
Yep.
Hey, there you go.
Cool.
It's actually something that you've never picked up. You just don't seem to have it.
Oh, shoot. Stand aside, boys. Let me look at this giant purse of mine. Let's see what I got here. A tissue. One sandal. A lot of granola bars.
We
You
could
know-
just give him a stick and let him write it in the dirt.
I am going to hand out the piece of parchment for Candlefoot,
Mm-hmm.
and then kind of gesture them down to me.
He leans down towards you.
I'm going to take my gourd and pour a little bit in the dirt and mix it around, and
Mm-hmm.
take their finger and stick it in the dirt, and then
It smells faintly of sweet alcohol, and he takes the like looks at his finger with the dirt on the end of it, wrinkles his face up at you, like gives it a sniff, and he wrinkles his face up some more, and then he starts writing on there, and he writes KENKU.
Kenku. Hey,
Okay.
Kenku.
He nods his head vigorously up and down. He then draws. He gets some more on there, and he draws an image of a round teapot with steam coming out of the end of it. And he takes some more of it and writes the word teapot, but then crosses it out, and he writes an equal sign. So it's not a teapot. It's something, another name for it.
A kettle.
He claps and points at you. And then he points vigorously to the cloud coming out of the end of the kettle.
Steam?
Steam.
And then he puts he does one hand palm up and the other hand palm up, and then brings them together.
steam kettle?
Steam
steam.
sandwich?
Kettle
He
steam.
motions his hand. What? He looks at Fanny
Kettle
and
steam.
motions you.
Yeah.
He claps vigorously, nods his head up and down.
I like this game.
There you go. He nods up and down, and then he puts a hand up to his eyes, and he kind of looks all over the crowd and back and forth, and then he just shrugs.
So we need to look for steam of a kettle.
Is this?
He shakes his head back and forth.
Is the
He points at the
Kenku
word.
named kettle steam?
His head bobs up and down vigorously.
Oh.
Ah,
Oh.
And he once
why Are
again,
we looking, why are we talking about a kenku?
he points to his throat and then just shrugs his hands.
His voice is gone. The Kenku seems to have taken it.
He nods his
Oh.
head up and down vigorously.
Oh dear. Oh, that's terrible. Oh.
He nods his head up and down slowly.
Oh.
I offer him part of my sash to wipe his hands when he's done.
He thanks. He like motions. His nods his head at you slowly and like with a little bit of a bow as he takes and wipes his hand off.
Did this Kenku steal your voice or just end up with it somehow?
He looks at you and he holds up the number 1. He holds up like one finger.
Steal. He stole it.
He nods his head up and down slowly, and then just kind of gives a resigned shrug, just kind of a.
Did it happen here?
He looks at you. He turns to look at you, and like he's noticed you for the first time, and then looks up, and then he just his eyes are wide, and he just slowly nods his head up and down. He's just like taking you in.
Oh, that's great.
Same, Candlefoot. Same.
That's how I hurt my neck earlier.
You watch as his chest rises and falls, and his shoulders bob up and down. You can see his head thrown back, and his mouth is a little open. If he could make a sound, you would recognize that he's laughing. He puts his hands together, clasps them together, and looks at all of you and shakes them at you, his eyes furrowed in a pleading motion.
I got you, honey. I see. I hear you. I hear you. We'll find this Kenku and teach him a lesson.
All right.
And
So,
don't
In the
steal.
meantime,
We still need to know where it happened.
That's very true.
he points like where he like no, he points over. Where did they lose it at?
I hold up my map.
He points to the Swan or the Silver Song Lake. And again, Willerin, you recognize that is where Palasha resides.
Yes.
He
Well-
looks at you, Willerin.
Mhm.
And like points to Silver Song Lake, and you watch as he gets down on one knee and he holds his hand up like he's proposing, and then he like reaches at his throat and pulls away. And then just shrugs and gets up.
I like get really close to him and so that I can more whisper to him in case I'm wrong and I don't want to just assume. But did you plan to were you going to propose before you lost your voice?
He tucks his chin into his chest, but looks at you with a smile on his face, and then just
Oh.
like gives you almost almost just imperceptible little nod, just a little.
Candlefoot. I give like a very I give a couple of claps and I'm like, okay. To everyone else, this is going to be very important now. We have to find his voice.
We have to help this man at all costs.
Not being able to.
If you guys would like to, you can look in your journals and you should see an image of Candlefoot there.
Mm-hmm.
You'll notice that he is in very drab, muted colors. And as his skin is even like this kind of palish color.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well,
I forgot that we all have on fairy wings.
yes.
You do all have on different wings, like butterfly wings, fairy wings, all different sorts of wings.
I like to imagine Sticks with like the really tiny wings. You don't
That's
see
what
it
I
in the
want
front,
too.
and then he turns, and it's just like.
I need it.
Well,
yes.
cheer up. We will try and do our best to find your voice. Here, you can have this while we wait, and while you wait for us to come back. And I will slide the snake balloon off of my staff and offer it to Candlefoot.
All right. You hand it back. You hand it to him, and he like hugs it to himself, and he drapes it around his shoulders, and like lifts the head and makes it like bob up and down at you, and then he like wraps it back around himself.
Oh, it's very sweet of you, Noodle.
Well, it also matches his attire.
He does nod his head at you, and he like puts his hands on the snake like it's a nice feather boa, and he kind of like traces his fingers down it, and he just nods his head. He has his eyes like half closed. He has his like chin up as though he's like showing it off and like how nice it looks on him. But where are you guys heading to now?
Well, the lake.
To the lake.
Yeah, right into the lake.
All right.
I feel like that's probably where it happened.
It costs you nothing to visit the lake and behold its star attraction, Palasha. Mist gathers at the banks of a shimmering lake. Near its center, a mermaid lounges in a giant bowl, singing a glorious, haunting song that captivates spectators on the lakeshore. In response, the lake water coalesces into magical sculptures that whirl around as she performs. As she is singing and you guys are standing there, you watch as it's not a huge crowd, but it's a sizable crowd. You hear people are oohing and awing at all of the shapes and things like that. And suddenly you hear, I've heard better singing from a cockatrice. And everybody kind of turns their heads to try to figure out, like, what was that? And for a second, Palasha sort of loses it, and you watch as the sculpture wavers for a second, but then she recorrects herself, and the song keeps going on.
Who yelled? Can I see who yelled?
Give me a perception check.
I would also
Okay.
like to look.
Yeah, big same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same.
Yep.
All right, give me 1 second here before you guys do that.
I'm hard staring at the water.
It's pretty water.
I haven't been
I need to
swimming in
pull up.
ages.
And I can use my.
I've insulted for Palasha. I'll start a fight.
All right. I just want to make sure I had this turned on. Okay, so what is your perception check? For those of you who are trying to find who the heckler is, give me perception checks.
Yes, and I think the next roll for
18.
You would have advantage. That's correct.
Oh yes.
For
20.
Styx, Willerin, and
There we go.
and for Fanny.
yeah.
Excellent. The lot of you, with the exception of Sir Hickory Turnip, and I don't know if Noodle was trying or not.
Nope.
Okay. Sir Hickory Turnip and Noodle are just entranced by the song, but the others, the rest of you, as though all zeroing in on a target. The accuracy with which you pinpoint the heckler, you turn to see what appears to be like it appears to be a human, but as you're looking at them, you can recognize that there is something different about this particular human. They appear to be under some sort of guise. And as you look, it shimmers for a second as though it breaks. The human, this little hunched figure of a human with wearing like a bandana tied around their head, their dark hair barely poking out in like in different places. They're wearing like this plain bluish robe that has little frayed edges. They look at you as you look at them and goes, I take it back. She can sing, and starts to dart away. And as it turns to dart away, you watch as the bandana fades and black feathers appear. As it starts to run away from you, you see this. Let me send you the image.
I love the theme for when you get an image.
Oh,
Oh my goodness. Ooh. It's a little buddy.
Cute.
He's running away from you going, I gotta go.
I am
Oh.
giving chase.
yes.
All right.
Me too.
Hey, hold on for me. Come on, boys.
Fanny's little leg.
Can I scoop her up?
Yeah, you absolutely can.
I'll be right behind you.
Wow. Oh, hey, careful there, Sticks.
Oh, everybody take a quick second and stretch.
Oh, stretch.
I felt my back crack with that.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Das Moonbat. I like that name,
Ooh.
Das Moonbat.
Ooh.
My
Oh
back
my
also
God.
cracked.
Maybe a little dizzy, lightheaded.
Apologies for the timer on chat. We have a 10-minute timer when people follow to help combat the onslaught of bots on Twitch. But we look forward to hearing from you soon in chat.
Yes, sorry about
Forgot that
that.
was a thing.
No, we had a bit of an issue. So Das Moonbat, whenever you get that timer off, we look forward to having you join our conversation. Again, we had a little problem, so
Yes.
all right. So as you guys are giving chase, they're darting in and out of the crowds and trying to get away. I need everybody to give me perception checks again, please.
Okey-dokey.
19.
Okay.
I've got 19 as well.
All right. You watch as. Dang, Bryce. Is that your second one of the night? Is that your second one? That's nice.
I'm supposed to be unlucky.
I got a...
Thankfully, he didn't get that like perception the 2 perception checks. He did get a nat 1 earlier too.
I got
Just
a
didn't count,
2
but-
on the die for a total of 5.
I love it.
You're doing wonderfully. You guys watch as the Kenku starts to head towards the Dragonfly rides. All the way past the big top, past some of the small stalls, past the lost property where you see this beautifully sleek looking displacer beast kind of look up as a lot of you go running past and darts past you all towards the Dragonfly rides. As you get towards the Dragonfly rides, let me pull this back up here. Boop.
Quick question: has Hickory been
Yes.
completely left behind at this point because he's still watching? the
Uh-huh.
presentation? Okay. Cool.
Yep, nope, you're still watching Palasha, and she is
Oh.
singing wonderfully.
Yes, that is a good thing to bring up. With my 5, would I have noticed them run off either?
Nope.
Okay.
The
I'm right
two of
there
you
with
are
you.
entranced in the singing. The rest of you, though, as you get closer, huge lily pads rest on the surface of a pool of glistening, or excuse me, huge lily pads rest on the surface of a pool glistening with phosphorescent algae. Giant dragonflies use the lily pads as landing platforms, buzzing loudly overhead with wings as brilliant as stained glass windows, and alighting briefly to drop off and pick up excited passengers. Near the entrance, a small, smiling tree turns your way and beckons you over. A red squirrel clings to its leafy canopy, peering at you suspiciously. As you watch the human dart past, both the squirrel starts chattering at him. Hey, come back here. You have to punch your ticket. And you watch as the treant looks and's like, hey, you shouldn't be running past here. As the rest of you dart past him as well. Willerin, he sees you and says, hi, Willerin.
Um, I'll turn and do like one of them quick, like, "Hi, sorry, we'll be right back," and then
Okay.
continue going.
Your face be like, a thief! Get him!
Oh, okay. Um, as you watch, one of the giant dragonflies has just taken off prematurely. The patron on its back, this middle-aged dwarf with a bright blue beard, is unfastened in the harness. You don't see. Actually, give me perception checks again. Those of you who just arrived, we'll see if you see them or not.
15.
Okay, hang on one second.
Ooh,
15 as well.
eat. I'm looking at that human bird.
Man, I'm doing great. I heard 15s. You see a rather like okay, actually perfect. Actually, as a matter of fact, in this time around, Fanny, you're the only one as you're watching the dragonfly fly away. You see this like gaunt human who you see like several humans gathered around where that was at. I need let's see. Everybody but Fanny, as you're looking at this group of humans, I want all of you to give me investigation checks. Ooh, okay.
16.
16. You're the only one that spots it. While this group of I won't say humans, this group of carnival goers, all of them are looking up, with the exception of one who looks up and then looks in your direction and looks back up again quickly, and then like keeps, even though their head is up, you can see their eyes are like looking in your direction, and you recognize that this is probably the Kenku that you're looking at. However, you have a bigger problem. This dwarf is being taken away. There's a dragonfly that just landed, and you can jump on one, and it can hold two of you. Let me make sure. There are 7 of them on the lily pads right now. The 8th one is flying away with a dwarf untethered. If you quickly jump on, you can try to give me animal handling checks to see if you can guide your dragonfly to catch up and see if you can't help rescue this dwarf. Who wants to try
keeping
that?
my feet on the ground.
You are keeping your feet on the ground. So I take it you're going to keep Kettle Steam busy?
If he's pointed out to me, yes.
Okay.
I was
Willerin?
just thinking that actually, so if I can, I would like to, it's kind of like a torn moment looking at the dragonfly and then also looking at the group of people.
Mhm.
I will point him out. I'll him, that one. I think the one looking down right now, and then will quickly get myself onto the dragonfly.
All right. You hop onto the dragonfly, and as does Jay. Jay, your name is kicking in right now. It's trained to do a figure 8 around there, and you can try to control it. This one, though, is just having none of your guff. It just is not following your commands, as it just sort of does its lazy figure 8 over the entirety of the park. And you look down as you cross over Silver Song Lake. You can see Noodle and Sir Hickory Turnip as the two of you realize that your party isn't anywhere to see. The rest, you look down on them and you can see them looking back and forth, confused.
Hey guys.
Sir Hickory Turnip and Noodle, give me perception checks.
Sure.
All right, Jay, I take it you're yelling down, guys.
Hey down there.
Hello.
I'm going the wrong way.
That's
Will
an 8.
You're doing
10
great.
for me.
Nope. You're like, did you hear something? And you both look up and you see a dragonfly, but you don't hear anything. You just see them flying around. Willerin, what was your animal handling check?
I'm sorry.
Big bug.
Did you jump on the back of a dragonfly?
I did, yes.
Give me your animal handling check, please.
Okay, perfect.
Just Noodle going,
That's a big bug.
I didn't
That's
get
a
to ride
big
those last
bug.
time I was here. That must be
18.
new.
18. You
18.
are able to glide your dragonfly over
Perfect.
and like slightly above, and
Okay.
you tip yours down, and as you do, you reach up and you're able to secure the dwarf and then like continue underneath him as you steer your dragonfly. You take the reins of his, and give me one more animal handling check, please.
Perfect. Worst comes to worst, I'm getting ready to cast what is it, feather falling?
Okay.
Featherfall?
Featherfall.
Yeah, the 3. That's a 3.
You said a 3? Okay.
Yeah.
You don't lose control of them, but what
Okay.
happens is they fall into that natural pattern that they've been trained to
Okay.
fly, and after a few seconds, yours, Jay, yours has already landed, and the other two come into a landing as well. All of them safely lighting on the ground. There is a cheer from the crowd as they applaud your ability to save this dwarf. You guys are really making a name for yourselves. He's like stumbling out. He like gets on the ground. He's like holding the lily pad. He crawls over to the dock and like jumps on it. He gets over to ground and like sticks his fingers in the dirt, and he says, I promise as long as I live, I'll never leave you again. I'm so sorry for my impertinence. I'll never leave you again. And he's just like kissing the dirt. As he's
Oh, please, it's gonna give you an
nervously.
upset stomach later. If you get any in your mouth.
No, it'll be fine. It's better than going splat.
I would have made sure you didn't, but I'm glad you're okay.
All right. So Jay, Fanny, Willerin, and Styx, you have cornered the Kenku known as Kettle Steam. However, across the park at the Silver Song Lake, the last of the songs comes to a rest as Palasha announces that she's going to take a short rest and sing again for you shortly. The crowd starts to disperse, and you recognize your friends are nowhere around you.
Last time I came here, I was told repeatedly if we got separated to wait where I was, and they would come back and find me.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good advice. Wonder where they got off to.
I don't know.
You want a sandwich or something?
I could eat. I'm surprised you're hungry.
Oh, I'm always hungry.
You've been munching on stuff out of your pack all day.
Oh no, those are just snackers. Like, you gotta have a proper meal here too. He's gonna go over and start go over to cornbread and start like unfitting some stuff to make a sandwich for him.
Sure, I'm gonna pad my way to the edge of the lake and just kind of stick my feet in.
Okay, you can stick your feet in, and it's cool, not cold, but comfortably cool. Against your skin, it's nothing. But
Trying to control the urge to go for a swim. I don't know if that's allowed here. But just kind of longingly looking out into the water while Hickory is doing their thing.
All right. So the two of you are going to have a snack. The other of you, what are you going to do? You have this Kinku in front of you.
Well, while the the fun little air chase is going on, I probably, since I'm still holding Fanny, I would have gone over and probably tried to grab him.
Mm-hmm.
And just keep him from running away.
Okay. Kettle Theme says, huh? You hear a silky smooth voice. Hey, baby, I'm not the girl you're looking for. I'm sure this is all wrong. And the voice doesn't quite match. Like, you can tell that it's mimicry.
I adjust my grip and just hold him by the hair instead.
I promise you, everybody needs to relax. There's nothing going on here.
I am
Everything's
completely
cool,
relaxed.
baby. What's that?
I am completely relaxed.
Kettle Steam pats your arm, like the muscle in your bicep where you're gripping the Kenku, and goes, sure you are.
Don't touch me.
Sorry, my bad. Consent should be given.
Can you tell me your name?
My name is Kettlestein.
Yep, this is the one. Mm-hmm. All
Hope
right,
so.
Kettlestein.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, do you like taking voices?
Look, I just wanted to ask some questions of the carnival owners about Prismere. You see, many years ago, I made a pact with Zabilna. She's the archfey who rules the Feywild domain of Prismere. Recently, I have become convinced that something has gone awry with my patron. You know, as a warlock, I sense that Zabilna is no longer in touch with me, which is a very, very disconcerting thought. So, I wanted to have a bit of a parlever with the carnival owners about Prismere, but every time I try, they keep giving me the cold shoulder. I know, or I'm fairly certain, they know more than what they're letting on. See, here during my last visit, I overheard Witch and Light talking in their wagon. I just happened to be passing by, and the window was open. It wasn't like I was skulking underneath the windows after sneaking through the bushes. by using any magic of any sort. Far be it.
Uh-huh.
But they were talking, and what I heard was someone's, and she doesn't stop moving her mouth, but what you hear is, someone's going to find out about this. They'll shut us down. Followed by a calm yet firm reply of, we agreed to this pact. Our hands were forced, but our eyes were open. We let the Hourglass Coven take what it wants, and in return, we stay in business. That is what you want, right? You recognize the voices as you have spoken to them earlier this evening.
Hmm.
So, I've been making trouble in the carnival, and I will not stop until Mr. Witch and Mr. Light divulge what they know about Zybilna and Prismere.
But that still doesn't
Do
excuse you being mean to the workers. That's just not right.
stealing voices is going a bit far.
Exactly. Those are
Mhm.
people's lives
You,
as well.
you're right. You're absolutely right. I'll make a deal with you. Sight unseen, if you agree, I'll turn over the mime's voice back to him. And she produces this corn husk doll, and you can see that there's a thorny stem tied around its neck. I will give this to you if you will do me one favor. I cannot get into Prismere. It's part of the pact that I have. But if you can get into Prismere and find out what's happened to Zybilna, then I will stop causing trouble and we can carry on our merry ways. What do you think?
Hmm.
I'm just gonna look at Fanny.
What's with that creepy doll?
Give me an Arcana check.
Okie dokie. Arcana. An
Okay.
18.
You've seen magic like this before. It's an effigy, and there is this is an effigy of Candlefoot, and you recognize that the thorny stem tied around the neck is what's preventing the voice from being restored.
Hmm. Well, there's more people to this group, so you're gonna have to present all this again to the others.
Yeah.
You know that Candlefoot loves that mermaid you were making fun of. I believe Candlefoot loves that mermaid. And I believe that he was trying to propose. So you did something really mean. And I know
Yeah.
my friend Willerin will not be happy about that. And you're going to be talking to them too.
To do so, but will you please investigate what's going on? And I promise you, I will stop all my troublemaking.
All right. All right. Yeah, big fella Sticks here could just pummel you. You need to stop messing with the workers. We can find out what's going on. We can get some answers question or some questions answered. But no more stealing voices, especially from the hard workers.
I promise on my pact with Zabelna that I will not harm or trouble anyone any further as long as I have your word that you'll take care of this for me.
All right.
Well, we'll have to get everybody's opinion first before we can make a decision as a group.
Yes.
All right, what do you say, Sticks?
I agree with that.
Okay. I'm gonna pat Sticks on the shoulder. All right, let's go. Let's go find Widowren and let's go find Noodle and Sir Hickory Turnip.
I will switch my hold to Kettle Steam's wrist.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just pull her along.
Yeah, she doesn't resist. She walks along. You doing that thing where you kind of like hold her hands just above her reach, so her feet are like tippy toeing.
Yeah.
By this time, I assume that the bulk of the party, save for Sir Hickory Turnip and Noodle, have come together and have discussed this matter. And now you're making your way back over to the last place where you saw your friends.
This is a
And that
wonderful
will be-
sandwich. Thank you.
I figure by this point we've got like a whole little picnic thing going on.
Yeah, you've got a blanket out. You've got, meats and cheeses on a board. You've got bread there and some mustard. As you guys walk up, it looks like they're having a fine time right by the lakeside.
Ah, there you guys are.
See, I told you they would find us.
It was good advice there, Noodle. Good advice indeed. More drink?
You hear a slight clacking sound as you look over and see the Kenku is like opening and closing their beak slowly, like looking at all the food.
Who's your friend?
Ah,
This is Kettle Steam. Is she right, Kettle Steam?
In a male voice that is smooth, Willerin, you would recognize it as Candlefoot's voice. Kettle Steam says, correct, a she.
She's got some things that she's gonna want to speak to us about. And making a deal. It seems that this is a little more complicated than we think. All right, let's get to an area where there's not too many people. This seems like a big deal.
She's not my friend.
But we could be friends.
Hey,
No.
Well, you were holding their hand.
Wrists.
Yeah, clearly wrists.
Did you get the voice back?
That's what we're gonna start discussing. Let's just move away from the crowd just a little bit.
Okay.
Well, we have
You
a
guys
nice
find a
picnic
nice-
set up here. No one's really around.
Yeah.
It's between shows.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. It's quiet right here. There's not a lot of people moving in through this area.
Have
I mean,
some
there are
food.
crowds that are moving. There are crowds that are moving past you to like the gondola swans, but they're not paying attention to you guys as you're just sitting there on
Hickory
the side.
spent the last like half an hour making food for everybody. This is a
But
good
it's
place as
great.
any.
You know what? That's a great idea. Is that Gouda? Oh, Sticks, place me down. I need some of that Gouda.
Anything for you, Fanny?
Styx is not only holding this Kenku by the wrists, but has Fanny up on their shoulder, like riding high, like their arm around her
It's
waist
so
and
nice.
legs.
That frog has never been taller in its entire life.
Wilburn is not happy. There is like just unamused croaking every once in a while, just brr,
Yeah, I know.
brr.
I will give Kettle Steam the hardest glare before I release her wrist, and I will carefully grab Fanny and place her down on the ground.
Okay.
Sticks.
Kettle Steam doesn't run. They just kind of rub their wrists a little bit, like ow.
I hold up a
So-
sandwich to them.
Yep, that's it. Eat your snack.
To
Calm
Kettle
down.
Steam,
Yeah, sit down.
she walks over and happily takes your sandwich and sits down on the edge of the blanket that you've thrown out from somewhere. She goes over the information again that many years ago she made a Fey pact with Zybilna. Zybilna is the archfey who rules the Feywild domain of Prismere. Recently, however, Kettlesteam has become convinced that something is amiss with her patron. As a warlock, she senses that Zybilna is no longer in touch with her, which as a warlock is a very disconcerting thought. Kettlesteam wants to question the carnival owners about Prismere, but they keep giving her the cold shoulder. She's sure they know more than they're letting on. During her last visit, Kettlesteam overheard Witch and Light talking in their wagon. She repeats the conversation using her mimicry trait to imitate Light's agitated voice. Someone is going to find out about this. They'll shut us down. Followed by Witch's calm yet firm reply. We agreed to this pact. Our hands were forced, but our eyes were open. We let the Hourglass Coven take what it wants, and in return we stay in business. That is what you want, right? Kettlesteam has been causing trouble in the carnival and refused to stop until Witch and Light divulge what they know about Zybilna and Prismere. However, she is willing to make a deal with you. See, due to the terms of her pact, she cannot enter Prismere. So she is asking you to head into Prismere and find out what has happened to Zybilna. She thinks that Mr. Witch and Mr. Light may know more about how to get there. She suggests stealing something of theirs to get leverage on them. She says if you agree to help her and go into Prismere and try to get Mr. Witch and Mr. Light to convince you or tell you more of what they know, she's willing to give you the doll with which she used to trap his voice right now. Like, if you agree, she'll give it to you right now.
Styx is sort of fidgeting his hands together as she's, relaying all of this. You all remember the horses, right? That we rode? Did any of you hear anything while we were riding them?
Yes.
Other than Wilbur being chatty, yeah, I think I did.
I was told something about Zybilna and her domain. That name, the Hourglass Coven, it's familiar to me because of that. There are 3 hags, and I think they've seized control of her domain.
Oh, okay. Wait. Okay, that reminds me. I did indeed hear something, and I thought it was just I was having a moment. I heard something about a hag as well. Not anything about an hourglass, but it did mention a hag. Which was strange. So you heard something, and Noodle, you said yes to Styx' statement.
I did. I didn't hear anything about covens or witches. I simply heard that I had something I was seeking could be found with a Endlin Moongrave.
Oh, I know that name. That's the leader of Yon. That's the leader of Yon. So there's Bavlona Lightstraw and Sabbath the Nightshade and Andalin Moongrave, and I know they have 3 realms known as Hither, Thither, and Yon. And
Oh,
I think they have significant problems with each other. That's what Bold told me.
oh, Sir Hickory, Blidestraw. That's the name that I heard.
Blightstraw?
Yeah, Belvorna.
All right. What do you know about her?
I just know that she has something of mine. That's all. That's all I heard.
Ooh. Well, if a hag's got something you have, then that's bad news. Hags are, I think, nasty creatures from the tales that I've heard.
Willow, dear, did you hear anything also?
Yes. Something about Skabatha's lair. I thought it was just me. Sometimes you hear things strangely at the circus. But if it's all of us at the same time, then well, it's got to mean something.
So, a thing called the Hourglass Coven is involved with Mr. Witch and Light. And what I hear from Kettle Steam, and then it was heard in one of the unicorns. Mine mentions just says the hag. You sleeps in a dollhouse?
Mine was in a hollow tree in a sylvan forest.
Where is Yon located?
I have no idea. I was just told it was Hickory. Sorry, not Hickory. My brain. Hither, Thither, and Yon. There's something. They're splinter realms. He'll kind of squint as he does that. As he's recalling it. I don't know what that means. I mean, I hate splinters, but I've had a fair chunk of them.
Splinter realms. Well, splinters are tiny.
Kingdoms are huge, right? Like realms are huge, so I can't imagine getting a kingdom shoved up your finger. That would be nasty.
No, it's probably a small realm. Dear hooded god, would I know anything about a splinter realm?
Hang on a second. Let me recover from that question. Dear hooded god, would you know anything about splinter realms?
God, it's me again.
I was just gonna ask something similar. Have I ever heard the term from my past?
Hello, God. It's me, Fanny.
Hey, it's that old lady that's been around as long as you have.
Good for her.
One of you received a piece of information concerning the name that the hags together have taken. Did one of you get that bit of information?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on. Wait, I'm in the wrong chat. Sorry. I was like scrolling up in Twitch looking for it. My apologies.
Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Yes, that is exact no.
Ed, and Eddie.
Not that either.
It's the Powerpuff Girls.
You're
Hickory,
all
Dickory,
wrong.
and Doc.
You know what? Rocks fall, everybody dies.
What?
Yes.
What did I do? And who's Dickory and Doc?
Excuse me, sir. This is a family channel.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
I think I recently heard somebody singing about Hither, Thither, and Yon.
Oh,
it certainly rings a bell.
Marvel?
Say again?
Is it the three Chris's from Marvel?
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Chris.
It's the triumvirate of Chris's.
Oh my gosh.
The Father Chris, the Son Chris, and the Holy Chris.
Oh my god. I can't. I mean, it is called, Christ.
We've been pronouncing it wrong this whole time. It's supposed to be Chris. That really changes the song from Jesus Christ Superstar. So you're the one they call Christ.
Oh,
I've never seen
Jesus
that.
Christ Superstar.
Superstar. I love
What
Superstar.
rails? We don't have rails here.
There are no rails.
Woo.
Just driving this train into the dirt.
Listen, the
Yep.
All right.
track is gone. The brakes are done.
We're just giving Q time, you know.
Yeah.
What-
Yep. So you can
One of
learn-
you received information that these three hags have formed a supergroup,
Oh, never mind. That wasn't me.
a coven, and the specific name of the coven.
The Hourglass Coven.
Correct. The three hags have seized control of
Zabilna's domain.
and split it among them.
Oh.
I gave that bit of information to one of you, I know.
It was me.
Yeah, the three hags have seized control of Zabilna's domain and split it among them. Together, these hags form the Hourglass Coven. So you have that bit of information that revelation of what Kettlesteam had said, which is that Zabilna's domain is called Prismere.
Okay, we're onto something.
All right, so you know that Zabilna's location was called Prismere, and the three hags split it up, but that's all you know.
Three. Okay, they split it into three. Splinter realm. Hickory,
Yes.
can you say your the thing again from Bold?
All right. And he'll put up his whole finger for a 2nd.
Mhm.
The hags' names are Bavlova Brightstraw, Skabatha Nightshade, and Endolin Moongrave, and their splinter realms are called Hither, Thither, and Yon. The coven is so riddled with distrust that each hag is convinced her sisters are plotting against her.
Oh my god! Just write that down and just give that to me, all right?
Just passing notes amongst yourselves. It's fine.
And out of
It's like
game,
a study
I
group.
wrote
Let's
down
go.
the names.
I'm sorry, I don't have any paper. Do you have any paper?
I need the spark
Maybe a
notes of
pencil?
that.
I'm just trying to sit here to think if I've ever heard my previous friend bring up the term splinter realms.
No.
Okay.
Nope. Because that would not have happened until the events that have the three in charge of.
Doesn't
Now,
hurt to
Jay,
ponder.
you said one of these hags has what you had, right?
Yeah,
You lost,
that would be
correct?
Blidestraw.
And you lost it here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how did it come to be in the hag's possession? It sounds like the carnival keepers are paying off these hags.
As a matter of fact, Sir Hickory Turnip, Willerin, Styx, all of you remember being in the carnival, including Fanny, Noodle, you as well. Remember being in the carnival and something changed while you were in the carnival. It's like chasing a random thought. You know how you have something in your brain and you try to do that thing where you're like, okay, before I thought of this thing, I was
Yes.
thinking of this and this and that, but you just keep chasing that thought. But all of you remember being at the carnival, and the one thing that you remember is that you didn't have money for a ticket and you snuck in, with the exception of Noodle. The rest of you snuck in.
To
In
get
your youth. And that's when things changed. That's when something went differently. The thought still eludes you, but you've traced it back to the reason that you feel like you've all come together is because it has to do with something at the carnival in your youth. You weren't all here at the same time, but the same circumstance seems to have taken place for each of you.
Oh,
There must be a reason we're all together. When I first came here, I didn't necessarily get a ticket like I did this time. I made my own way in. What was your first experience like, all of you?
A little bit of a daredevil like you myself. I did sneak in. I believe that's what I think I remember that. I just don't recall having a ticket, like you say.
Yeah.
Uh,
I remember swimming across the stream.
were you wearing pots like last time? You didn't sink?
Oh no, I sank. I just flat up walked along the bottom.
Well, okay.
And I could pull myself up onto Percival to get a breath every now and then.
Oh, Percival, you're here. Oh, so sorry about that. Here.
Well, the last time I was here, I don't recall if I got a ticket or not. I came with a friend, and they took care of everything while I was here.
Okay, you're the +1.
Where's your friend now?
And Noodle will very much deflate. They're no longer with us.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that, Noodle. They must have been wonderful, since they gave you such a wonderful name.
She was lovely. She was amazing. I stayed by her side for many years.
As you're all sitting here talking and reminiscing, you hear a little, like, sniffling. And you look over to see Kettle Steam, who has little, like, pools of liquid rimming the edges of their eyes. And you watch as they take the little corn husk doll out from somewhere in there. They're like, just take it and promise to find your way into Prismere. Perhaps with a lot of you, you can lean on them to make things right. And Sticks, Kettle Steam is going to press the doll into your hand and just like pat your hand and the doll at the same time.
Oh,
Thank you.
um, Kettlestein,
Hmm?
don't you worry, honey. We'll figure it out.
The edges of her beak kind of draw back, and you watch as her mouth opens a little bit. She's a Kenku. They can't really smile, but you get the idea the way she squinches her eyes up as she does it, that she's smiling at you.
I know. Yep, you smile with your eyes. All right. We'll figure out what happened to your patron. We're a very capable group. You saw us.
Before that voice is gone, perhaps as a group, the lot of you should speak to Mr. Witch and Mr. Light one more time. Especially before, and she looks up at the sky. You can see the moon is far off in the distance, getting closer to setting, and she says, especially before they close up shop for the day. What do you say?
Is it important?
Well, if Jay's stuff is over there, well, lost item is over there, that means mine might be too. And that certainly sounds like the next adventure for me.
How do we get into Prismy?
Kettlesteam looks towards the brambles that mark off the staff area and says, I don't know, but I bet there are a couple of elves who might. What do you say?
Well, I think we had plans to talk with them soon.
Ooh, these dragonflies overhead are really loud back there. You know, this would make a great story to tell in a few years. I say, let's do it. I've got nothing much to lose. Well, actually, I do. Never mind. I'll take that statement back. What about you, Wilbur? Okay, whatever.
I'm open to it.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't see why not.
Sounds like all hands are in on this one.
Yep, it's gotta make sure Candlefoot gets hitched.
Percival, are you okay with this? That's what I thought. Bravest goat in all the world.
As it reaches down and pulls up some more grass and just slowly chews. It's
actually Hickory's
square
gonna lean.
pupils.
Yeah, Hickory's gonna lean close and be like, "Whatever happens, Percival, don't eat the frog." I mean it.
I'm not going to scream into the microphone like the goats do, but
I
know. You get the idea that as his square eyes kind of stare off into the distance, the square pupils just stare off into the distance like, yeah, sure, okay. All right. Gathering yourselves up after enjoying your small meal, you head back into the throng of the carnival. You can hear the people are moving about the place as the hours of the evening wane on. Where are you heading to, party?
I didn't get to go inside the illusion box.
Say that again?
I didn't get to go inside the illusion box. Hickory, Jay, Noodle, what did you see in there? It had wacky mirrors? Did the floor move?
Oh yeah, really wacky mirrors. You could see your old self and your new self and everything.
Is there a circle that keeps moving? You have to walk through it, and it's almost impossible.
Well, we just kind of found that young halfling man, and took him back out.
It was very
Yeah.
disorienting.
I don't think I aged well.
Yeah, well, that's right.
It's like you got to the one where he's older and there's just like a little bit of a pudge around the midsection.
Oh,
And slight
You
comb
can't
over.
get-
Yes. Slight comb over.
no.
All right. Party. Where are you heading to? Do you want to head back to see Candlefoot with the Cornhouse doll? Or do you want to head to speak to Mr. Witch and Mr. Light?
We should probably handle Candlefoot.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's definitely for the best.
Hmm. Hey, well, how much time do we think we have until we lose that window that Kettlestein was talking about?
If you notice up in the tracking thing in the corner, you've only got about an hour.
All right, we better have it.
Do you know where Red is? Maybe we could have Red send over this doll to Kettlefoot.
Red was
Well,
back at the Dragonfly rides.
I actually,
Mhm.
I think I have a suggestion here. If Candlefoot and... is it Palasha?
Mhm.
Do in fact have some kind of relations, we could certainly leave it with Palasha.
But I don't think we have much time.
I mean, I could probably get to Palasha pretty quick in the water to get her attention.
Now I have this image of Noodle with the doll in his mouth swimming through the water.
I could also ride over there, deliver it real fast, and then catch up with you over by the staff area.
Do you know where Palasha takes her breaks, Willerin? I don't see them going too far.
Yeah, most of the time she's just in the water there in the lake.
Okay,
Am I allowed to go in the water?
That's a
Willerin?
very good question. This isn't normally my area, but I mean, if it's something, just tell her I sent you.
I was going to say the carnival goers are usually encouraged to stay out of the water, but there's nothing expressly written about it. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Like, they're not going to find you and beat you about the head and neck region, but at the same time, like, you know.
I'm going to take my sash and put it on the ground, fasten my shoulder bag. Can I have the doll? I'll go find her real quick.
I'll hand it over.
I will stuff it into the bag.
Okay.
And I am gonna go swimming looking for Palasha.
There's not even a splash sound as you watch the sleek form of Noodle just kind of slide into the water from the edge of the lake where you guys are having your lunch.
Oh, I
And
full
just-
seal slide into the water.
Yeah, just but like it is so fast, it's just nothing. And then your powerful tail and your little feet boom, 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 through the water. You hold your breath and dive, looking around, and you see her swimming. She gives you the oddest of looks as she kind of like comes to the surface. She rests her arms on the island that's just out there as you come to the edge of the island and clamber up on top on all fours, shake your fur out, shaking out the water.
Well, hello.
Hello.
Lovely lake you have here. Willerin sent me.
Willarin is a lovely person.
Yes, they say
Did you-
hello. I'm Noodle. Pleasure to meet you.
Bonsoir, Noodle. It is a pleasure to meet you.
I'm sorry to intrude on your lake. We're a little short on time. We are trying to help your good friend Candlefoot find their voice.
She brightens up at the mention of Candlefoot's name.
Yes, that's the one. Hold on, here, and go through my bag and pull out the doll. We were
okay.
told if you remove the thorn around its neck, he will regain his voice.
She takes it from you and undoes the knot and pulls it off. And as she does, the doll just sort of, it doesn't look any different. She's like, and this will restore Candlefoot? No?
That's what we were told, yes. I've been around magic, but I don't know how to use it myself, but it probably worked.
Bon, I will see if I can't get his attention. Thank you for restoring my beloved this way.
Oh, we wish you the best.
And you as well. And she holds out her hand and like takes your little paw and she shakes your hand and she like puts one hand on top of yours. Unlike humans that are warm, her hands are kind of cool to the touch and a bit damp. Now, I would suggest you get out of the water before someone sees you. You might get in trouble.
Oh, we can't have that.
No. And she dives under the water.
As do I.
Excellent. Your powerful tail again sends you across the water in no time flat. As you come up the other side, you announce to the party that you have restored that. And about the time that you get out of the water, you see come running towards all of you, towards the lake. At first, you think it's towards you, but you recognize that he's just running towards the lake. You see his fake wings on his back flopping as he runs, his long socks falling down, and he reaches every once in a while and pulls one up, his hat flopping behind him. Candlefoot. And you hear that voice that you heard earlier from the Kanku coming, Palasha! Palasha! As he comes running up to the lake edge, he yells out her name, and you watch as she reaches the water, resting her arms on the shore. She says, Candlefoot. He drops to his knees and reaches down and takes her face in his hands. Oh, I've been looking forward to the moment where I could say these words before that tricksy little creature took my voice. Palasha, and as he's talking to her, you don't realize it at first, but she's humming slightly, and as she's humming, the drab colors that flow throughout him and his pale skin, you see color being restored to him. And Candlefoot, this drab mime, is very soon buoyed in colors that are vibrant and bursting forth. Palasha, your voice restores me, and your song fills my heart. Palasha, will you? And before he can even get the words out, she reaches up out of the water a bit more and kisses him. She pulls away and she says, "But of course, I was merely waiting for you to find your voice and ask me." And again, the whole entire area around you erupts, but this time it's a little quieter. There's not as many people.
I have missed that entirely. I have walked away.
Okay,
They got
you have
hate.
walked away. As the rest of you who were sitting there realize that Styx is gone, where is Styx heading to?
To where we need to go, to the staff area.
All right.
Alright,
I assume
where
that
was this going?
everybody else is like, oh yeah, right, heading out behind you.
Woo! Yeah, get a tiger! Woo! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Walking in that direction, you see standing before the hedgerow Burley. Burley sees you all walking with a purpose, kettle steam with you. He kind of like removes his helmet and says, I thought you was going to steal the watch. Are you planning something different now?
Um, we're gonna talk.
Okay. And then you're gonna talk to them? Right then. He looks at the lot of you and he moves his hand and you watch as the bushes part. As he starts forward, you can see the clown stand up and like move towards you all. He holds up his hand and says, You've already had your Burly, full on big bugbear hand, just, you've already had as Burley just palms Thaco's entire face and just moves aside. Important business. And he just moves Thaco bodily out of the way. He walks you up to the door. He looks at Styx and says, he holds himself and takes a deep breath. He says, at least make it look good. And he like holds his chin out and closes his eyes.
Oh no.
Opens one eye as he looks at you.
Oh. Okay, I'll punch him.
Okay. Go ahead and roll. Roll. Actually, this is going to be interesting. Roll a strength check.
Okay.
Athletics, if you have it.
Athletics. I do. Oh.
Wow.
So we didn't come to play
Have
today.
any of you seen Tropic Thunder?
No,
Yes.
I
The
haven't.
like towards the very beginning, whenever Les Grossman calls him over the thing, he's like, "I need a grip. Punch him as hard as you can in the face." And the grip's like, "Sorry, man," and he just knocks that dude out. That's you. You just look at Burley. I'm like, "I'm sorry." Oh. He just goes, "It's hurt," and down Burley goes. The door, as soon as that sound of pop happens, the door to the trailer where Witch and Light were opens up, and you can see Mr. Light looking at all of you and says, I don't believe we've necessary for violence. I take it you want to have a conversation with us?
I'll just nod.
Yep.
Right. So, I guess come on in then. As he like stands back, allowing you entry. I would like for Noodle to give me a perception check before you head into the trailer or the wagon.
Do I have to duck to get in?
It's not. I mean, yeah, you're gonna have to duck a little bit.
Okay.
That is a unnatural 20. 17 plus 3.
You see walking past Thaco, and like not necessarily stealthily, but definitely where they're not trying to draw attention. The gnome that you met early on, in the evening. She seems to be moving in the same direction that you are.
I'm gonna stay outside.
Okay. The rest of you enter into the wagon. Mr. Witch stands up abruptly, his watch, snapping up from where it was laying on the table. As it's attached to his waistcoat, it swings for a moment. He snatches it up and tucks it into the pocket. What are you lot doing in here? The carnival is outside. They insisted. Apparently, they knocked barely clean out. Right. Well then, have a seat again, as he motions to the few chairs that are in the room.
I'll stand.
Now take a
Of
seat.
course.
Let join.
Hickory will sit as well.
So, to what do we owe the pleasure of your extended and once again, not necessarily unwanted, but certainly uninvited meeting?
Are you very busy right now? I mean, we're not interrupting anything, are we?
We are merely running a carnival, as you can tell. Indeed, we have important things to do, and you can see that the vein, the little wand, the vein on the end of it is spinning crazily. Mr. Light looks at it and then like kind of tucks it aside, so it's not like doing anything.
The thing is, we know something about you and your carnival, and we need you to help us.
And what is it, pray tell, that you believe you know that would warrant such a favor?
Well, we know that you've got a certain arrangement with 3 hags, I believe. What were they referred to as? The Hourglass Coven?
Before we get ahead of ourselves, I would like to read the room. How are they looking at it now that he's mentioned that?
Give me an insight check.
Okay. Insight. Oop. Oop. 5.
They are inscrutable.
Hickory will be observing them as well.
Okay, insight check. They are inscrutable.
Before we get ahead of ourselves,
Can I also do one? I am watching as well.
Certainly.
It sticks your toe.
I'm waiting to repeat myself.
Yeah. Here, since if we're in here, might as well. I'll give it a shot.
22.
Oh, not for me. Plus, that's negative. That's a 1 on the dice.
The 1.
Sorry. That's 1.
Did you say that was a negative?
Negative?
Yeah, I just about said, but I don't think it's a negative. I was just actually no, it's a 2. It's a +1, but
The sticks.
Sticks. It is almost imperceptible, but when the Hourglass Coven and an arrangement is mentioned, Mr. Witch and Mr. Light tense in their own way. Mr. Witch's lips, which are a bit on the thin side, become stretched just a little bit more, and you can see Mr. Light's lithe shoulders seem to tense a little bit. Mr. Witch continues, I can assure you that I know of no such arrangement.
Well, fine with that, but regardless of that, do you know of Prismere? And how to get there?
Is Styx
I'm-
now smiling?
I'm not aware of any such place. And of course, we would know nothing of how to get there.
So, two very, very successful and very smart individuals such as yourselves, that is filled with magic and ones of fay and wonder, wouldn't know of this type of place. Or maybe this name. Does Isabel ring a bell?
Give me an insight check.
Okay.
Again.
Oh, shoot. Come on, roll 20. 12.
You can tell that Mr. Light is starting to get a little, not fidgety per se, but he seems to be like adjusting his body a bit more.
You know, no one likes a liar.
Indeed.
I know you're wanting to protect your business, and we're not threatening it at all. We just need some help. And I know we've mentioned that we've lost something. We all have lost something. And the answer might be there.
Give me a persuasion check.
Okay. Come on, roll 20. 12! 12.
They look back and forth between each other, and they're just they don't seem to be moving or anything. They're like looking at you at you like, we don't really know what else we can do.
Are you afraid of the coven?
Give me another insight check, Styx.
No. 19.
He fumbles over the word. I'm not sure who that is or why we would fear them at all.
Are you sure?
As he was saying that, you watch him kind of like adjust the cravat at his neck. Give me a persuasion check or intimidation. I will let you choose which one you want to use.
Oh, well, I have -1 in both. I'll try intimidation.
Anybody got any guidance or anything? Okay.
Could I do a bardic inspiration? That helps. I don't think I have
I'll let you do
still
that.
have a D4.
Oh, that's right. You do still have a D4, don't you?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Just roll it, everyone.
Okay. As you mention this, Mr. White, who has been mostly unflappable, is still like, I'm not sure, but Mr. Light suddenly or Mr. Witch has been unflappable, but Mr. Light suddenly snaps and goes, "Oh, I can't take any more of this. Listen, we have a deal with them, but it's to keep our business operating, and it's the thing that we need." And Mr. Witch stands up with his hands on the table. As he does, bangs them down. "Quiet. No, I've had enough. I wanted this to be a wonderful experience for everybody who's come, but we've let them go too far. They must be stopped. Listen, If you'll stop them, we'll give you an aid from this side. We'll show you how to get there. Do you have a deal?
Well, I glance at the others. This is the best shelter we've got. I mean, help from the.
Sounds agreeable to me.
And there's a lot that need help, and a lot has been trouble caused by these folks, these hags. And if it means helping you too and making this place a better place, then I'm for it. What about
Actually,
you?
before that though, how exactly did we lose what we lost? And how did it come to be in their possession?
Mr. Witch clicks open the watch, looking at it carefully before clacking it closed and putting it back in his waistcoat. Those who have gained entry through other means than a ticket, they are fair game for the hags of the coven, though they are, through their own machinations, the movement of their own people, they have gathered and collected things that will go missing from individuals who have snuck into the carnival. What they do with them is up to them. But they didn't buy a ticket. They have no right to be here. So I feel that it is right, and that's what part of the deal was. And so far it has kept us going, but before them we had a deal with Zybilna. She was fair. Neither one of us like the coven, but it is the deal that we had. If you could somehow end the deal, perhaps we can be free of their control. Indeed. Go forth. We'll show you the way. What do you say?
I'm for it. I'm just curious of why you split from Zybilna. If she was fair.
Mr. Witch comes around the edge of the table, and this time he puts his hands on the desk and leans back against it. His ankles crossed, and he says, "We haven't left the deal with Zybilna. Something else altogether has happened in Prismere."
Okay. Curious, curious.
Indeed. While this conversation is going on inside, outside, Eliwick, the gnome that you met earlier, you see her walk up, and Thaco starts to move, and she just kind of moves her fingers, and Thaco just kind of like stops for a second, and then just sits down on the ground and goes, and falls over asleep. Eliwick comes up to you, and she says, "I do so hate a bully. So, looks like you've nearly come full swing to the reason why you're here. Have you enjoyed the carnival so far?"
Oh, goodness. Absolutely. I actually got to do rides this time.
I see your friends are inside talking to Mr. Witch and Mr. Light. If there's a problem, I can perhaps help you find your way on. I mean, you did answer the call, and she winks at you and kind of like nods towards your bag. Finding a noodle is like finding a needle in a haystack. But saying that there were a walking otter, it's a little easier to spot. Now,
Were you
I
how I
don't-
got my ticket?
She winks at you, and she says, I don't care much for the Hourglass Coven nor their cruelty, and I aim to see they get their much needed comeuppance. And I believe that you and your friends are the right sort of folk to deliver that much needed comeuppance. Don't you agree?
Well, I've only known them for the day, but they seem like a good group of folks.
I feel that a lot of them have lost more than they let on, but perhaps if you now stick together, that you'll find your way and the things that you've lost along the way. And she kind of looks at you for a moment, and there's like for a split second that familiarity with that person that you lost. And you watch as Eliwick, she frowns at you for a moment, but it's not like a sad frown. It's like that that like bittersweet shared emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And she reaches out and tentatively puts her hand aside your face, your little cheek, and she says, I know that you must be terribly lost at times, having lost your friend. And I know that sometimes you seem adrift, as though you don't know which direction to take. But keep following the right path, and you'll find your way again. You're a well and good and capable young person, and I believe that you'll find your way just fine. Remember, not all those who wander are lost. Now, if your friends come out and they've not found a way to get into Prismere, I'll be happy to be the way for you. I'll show you how to get across the path. But if they do, well, more's the better for you all. But know that I'll be here waiting for you. Okay?
So you'll sit here and wait with me?
Of course I will.
Would
And
you
she
be so
finds a
kind to
comfortable
play
spot.
me another song?
Oh, and she like touches her hand over her heart. It'd be my absolute honor to do so. Come, let's have a seat.
Can I
And
join
she
you?
sits down. Why, that would be an honor in and of itself.
And I'm gonna
And she finds
loop around in my bag.
and
And
she finds a comfortable spot to sit.
try and locate my Boolean pipes within my bag.
All right. You easily find them, and the two of you start to play. Inside, inside the inside the wagon, Mr. Witch and Mr. Light look at the lot of you and say, so. Mr. Witch starts off. So, are we in agreement then?
Look at the others. Give them a firm nod.
I'd say so.
It is agreed.
We will make right for all these wrongs.
All right. Well, if you're all in agreement, then we should go before the hour becomes too late. And as you guys all start to get up, you hear music playing from just outside the wagon. As Mr. Light opens the door, you see Noodle sitting with a little gnome playing a beautiful tune. As Noodle is playing something that looks like a small version of a bagpipe. And you see that the gnome is playing a beautiful lute. And she stands up as the song comes to an end, and she looks at Noodle and she says, I believe they've struck an accord. It looks like you won't need my help after all. Well, not until you might need it in the future.
Well,
She reaches
I do
down.
hope to see you again.
Oh, you will, little one. You will. But for now, if I may, might I have a hug?
Yes.
And she puts her lute across her back, reaches around and hugs you tightly, and you feel something being like slid into your bag, into your big bag that you have on your back.
Mm-hmm.
She steps back and she puts one hand on each of your, one hand on each of your side of you, and says, "You're a good one, Noodle." And she winks at you, and she starts off. Mr. Light looks and says, "Well, that was a strange encounter. Let us be off before our time is beyond us." And they quickly make their way across the way. Let me go to the bottom here. Mr. Witch and Mr. Light move all of you to the Hall of Illusions, and as they move through the Hall of Illusions, their reflections in the mirrors show them as gloomy, shadar-eyed children, with your own youthful reflections following behind. Soon they call you to a halt. The mirrors now reflect everyone's current true age. Mr. Witch addresses you in a hushed tone. "Everything you seek and more lies beyond this mirror. If you mean to step through and stand in front of the glass and repeat this rhyme, hither, thither, here and there, wander yonder, show me where." The land beyond the mirror is called Prismia, wherein dwells the carnival's patron, the true patron, the Archfey Zybilna. It is a one-way portal. Once you arrive in Prismia, you must find your own way back to this world. They step back. Mr. Light steps forward one more time, the veins spinning, and he says, "Before you go, we must nod at one of you and mark you as the Witchlight Monarch." He watches as the wand spins, as he aims it back and forth between the lot of you, as he moves it just to Willerin, and then just to Fanny, and it slows just a little bit back to Willerin. It spins more wildly. As he does, he says, "Well, it looks like the vein has chosen our Witchlight Monarch. Congratulations." And he taps you. And as he does, you have the charm of the monarch, and I will send you the information on that here shortly. He steps back and says, "Well, time for you to recite the rhyme. Go forth and good luck."
Uh, wait, tell Burley I say sorry.
I will absolutely do that.
See you later. Toodles.
All right.
The carnival was great fun.
Yes, indeed.
Ooh, here we go.
You step up to the mirror and you say the rhyme, "Hither, thither, here and there, wander yonder, show me where." As you do, the mist swirls in the mirror, blotting out your reflection. This blue thing comes forth. And as you start to step through, you hear from behind you, "Mind the rule of 3, future, present. Corn and free the dormant queen at last." And as you step through the portal, it sucks you all in. You feel yourselves being moved across a plain somewhere far out in the distance. And as you come to, you look across and see a plain, a new spot. As you arrive, you look across and you see you're standing at the edge of a raised and broken causeway under a hazy twilight sky. The causeway, which is built from pale stones that glow faintly from within, towers over the surrounding landscape, but large sections of it have crumbled away. The parts that remain in place are separated by large gaps where portions have collapsed. A fog-shrouded swamp spreads out below you in all directions, and up from its murk wafts the smell of rotting plants. Also rising from the swamp is the music of nature, a discordant symphony of croaking frogs and singing birds. Welcome to Hither. And that is where we're going to call it this evening. Congratulations, you've made it into Prismeer.
Yay.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
Couple of things are going to happen as we move into Prismeer. The first thing is you are going to level up to level 2. Congratulations, everyone. Yeah.
Woo! It's my favorite.
I would like to thank all of you for joining us this evening, as well as to my wonderful players who were here with me this night. Stick around while we go raid somebody else. And my only announcements were we did have RPG Con this last weekend. It was a good first con. I would love to have always seen more, but I was happy with what we had. The Aldemir Mystery Adventure set was really good, and it went off without a hitch. There are some notes that I'm going to take back and rewrite some things, but all in all, it was a lot of fun. So yeah, and I think my plate's empty for now until I announce some other future event. But for now, Wild Beyond the Witchlight, it's my thing. Thank you again for everybody who tuned in this evening, and we are going to, on that note, bounce over and raid someone. Let's see. Who do we want to raid? Dorktails? Dorktails sounds good, unless they're not on tonight.
Well, I don't see them up yet.
Yeah, they may not be. A bunch of stuff came up, so I mean, I'm not in touch with them directly, but I know that there's some stuff came up for Kelly. He might not have been able to avoid.
We can go pop in some Curse Estrad over at Victor 7.
Let's do that. Let's go raid Victor 7 and have some good time.
We will see you all
next week. Thank you, everyone. And we will see you all next week. Don't forget, tomorrow night, Remnant Shadows. Wednesday, False Skull Knights. Thursday, Knights Ransom. Tune in. We'll see you then. Take care, everyone.